Be careful. You might learn something.
Let's go.
You are now tuned in to the Factual Opinions Podcast with your host. I am Pharaoh. Straight facts.
What's up, world? It's your humble and gracious host. I am Pharaoh, checking in with the Brown, Bruce Wayne, Big John.
Yes, sir.
Will West, the best, Nate.
You know it.
It is Factual Opinions Podcast. This is season 4, episode 23. Cannot believe we are counting down towards the season finale of season 4. Not quite there yet, but man, it's been a journey. So we're calling this episode Hard Knocks for a number of reasons. One, it's got cold outside, gentlemen. And winter's coming in pretty strong. And it's hard knocks for a lot of people right now. You know, whether in your personal life or in sports. Obviously, with my beloved Buckeyes and Bengals, it's definitely hard knocks right now. So we're going to get right into it because we have a lot of things to talk about. But first, on the docket, I want to spend some time and give a special shout out to 3 of my former players that I had the privilege of coaching at Purcell Marion a couple years ago. I had 3 former players sign their letters of intent to play Division I college football today, and I am extremely proud. I want to mention them by name specifically. First, starting off with my boy Carleon Neal. Big John, you know this, Nate, too. It's crazy being this guy's coach because I was such a huge fan. And I used to get into arguments all the time with Dowdy about us not utilizing him enough. A dynamic wide receiver that puts you in the mind of Percy Harvin. Carleon signed his letter of intent to play football for Eastern Illinois today. Very proud of him. J.L. Harris, running back at Withrow. Before he went there, he broke the single-season all-time rushing record at Purcell Marion, signed his letter of intent to play with Central Michigan, the Chippewas, and the MAC today. And my boy, Jayon Saunders, who is 7th all-time in Ohio high school athletics history and interceptions, signed his letter of intent to play with Mercyhurst, the D1 college today, the Northeast Conference. So shout out to my boys, man. I am extremely proud of y'all. More importantly than these guys being great football players, I can seriously vouch to say they're great young men also, which makes me even more happy for them. So now that we got that out of the way, these 2 gentlemen know, probably anybody else that knows me knows, Ryan Day ruined my birthday over the weekend. Was not in great spirits for obvious reasons. I took the loss extremely hard. Here goes your guy, brother, getting ready to make me cuss on here. Will says, is it safe? I don't know, Will. Is it safe? You had Nate keep the books, man. I guess you was trying to keep that buffer zone going to make sure. I'm messing with you. Here's the thing, man. I almost don't even know where to begin. Let me just do some background. So Big John, my best friend, love him to death, all week was talking about, man, I got this in the bag. And what did I say, Big John?
I mean, I understand, like I said, even when you was telling me about the rivalry, but I get it. Like, I'm an athlete, I'm a football player. I know how rivalry games can be. I know the importance of the game. I get it. But the talent y'all had, y'all shouldn't have gave that up. That's just
I know that, Big John. But what did I say leading up to the game when you kept saying we had it in the bag?
I just told you. I just said what you said.
I was worried because I've seen, and that's the thing. Like, I've seen worse. There were some analysts on here that were talking about this was the greatest upset in the rivalry. No, it's not. Not even close. This is just more recency bias. Okay, the greatest upset in this rivalry is still 1969, Bo Schembechler's first year on the job at Michigan after being Woody Hayes' understudy and playing for him, at Miami of Ohio, coaching under him at Ohio State, going to Michigan. Michigan already having lost, I believe, 3 games, to that point. And Ohio State was the undefeated returning national champions, 22 or 24-0. That was the greatest upset in the rivalry's history. And in my opinion, followed by that 1995 team boasted the Heisman Trophy winner in Eddie George, the Biletnikoff winner in Terry Glenn, and in my opinion, maybe the second greatest left tackle of all time, future #1 overall pick Orlando Pace, all on the same team, undefeated, poised for a national championship, and lost to a 3-loss Michigan team with some kid named Tim Bianca Batuka running for 319 yards during the game. That would be number 2. So as shocking as it
That
was,
got him to the league.
it did. Now he didn't last long,
Nah.
but yeah, even Luke Fickle's kids still mess with him to this day. Say, look, Dad, it's Bianca Batuka running over you again. But just keeping it in context, it was a very shocking loss, but it was not the greatest upset in rivalry history. I think what most Buckeye fans are upset about and crushed like I was is that it clearly, as Big John mentioned, had the better team. Clearly. I don't care who you root for or any of that. We're not talking about that. Like, clearly had the better football team. I felt like that really outside of the 2021 game, the first, victory where Michigan broke the curse. That was the only game where I really felt like just lay it on the table. Michigan just beat us. The other ones, I feel exactly the same way I do with this game. I feel like Ryan Day, who you all know I have been a staunch defender of throughout this process. But I'm telling you right now, no more. I'm on the Chris Carter bandwagon. For buck nuts like me, honestly, I don't really care what you do from this point. Like, you can win a national championship, and I know this is going to sound crazy, and people around the country going to say, "What are you talking about?" I've even seen some fake Buckeye fans talking about, "Oh man, you guys are putting too much importance on the game." And da 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 da. What the hell are you talking about? The most important game of the season is that game. You can call me old school, traditionalist, whatever. You don't know what you're talking about if you say otherwise. So honestly, the only thing that can save his job is winning a national championship. But there are still Buckeye fans like me who, as my dad would say, I don't care about that. You lost the game. A national championship when you lost to Michigan, that's like wearing a white polo and spilling a Chicago style dog all over it with relish and mustard and ketchup and hot sauce and onions and cucumbers all over your shirt. It's a stain. It's an asterisk.
Stain is a stain.
You lost to
Stain is a
Michigan,
stain.
man. Okay, and that's the sad part is they still have a very good chance at winning a national championship. Like, just being realistic, like they really do. And I honestly, the way the bracket, if it stays the same right
Yeah.
now, is actually more in their favor
Yeah, it is.
this way than it would have been if they were the #2 or #1 seed.
Let me pull it up. Hold on. I'm about to pull it up.
Yeah.
Provided they take care of business, if they match up with Tennessee and they have a home game, against them, and then you have a rematch against Oregon, who you've already saw, so it's not like you're going to be enamored or scared of that matchup. You played outside of last Saturday your worst game and lost by 1 on the road to them. But what I want to get to more so than anything is why I've changed my stance on Ryan Day, and then let you guys dive in. So we know the record, 66-10. Uh, Great guy, phenomenal recruiter, But there's been a change in philosophy at Ohio State that has allowed Michigan to win these last 4 games. And Big John, you talked about this too. It would have been unimaginable as children growing up thinking that Ohio State couldn't match up with anybody as far as toughness is concerned. But then Ryan Day hears that, and this is where I have an issue. So he goes off on Lou Holtz last year. We remember that, responding to that criticism. So that lets you know that he is listening to outside voices and being influenced by that. Then he gets in this game where clearly your advantage is your skill position guys on the outside and you having the best wide receiver trio or wide receiver room in general in college football and spreading out, getting these guys in space, taking advantage of those matchups. Will Johnson is probably going to be a first round, top 5 pick
For sure.
corner from Michigan. He wasn't even playing. And you, for whatever reason, give Michigan the chance. The one chance they have to win this game is playing into their hands and making it a fist fight in a phone booth and grinding it out. And honestly, I talked to Triggs and a few other Michigan supporters that I will talk to about this. I said, Michigan, take all the outside noise out of it. They figured out a formula for beating Ohio State. And
Yeah,
there's
they
not
did.
too many teams that can do it, but they figured it out. They realize they don't have the athletes on the outside to match up with them, but they do know how to ground and pound. They do know how to bleed the clock and take possessions away from that high-powered offense. So when you do get back on the field, you feel even more pressure to try to score right away and go outside of your game plan. And you sitting on the sideline while it's cold and your body's not warm, and you get out there. I think Ohio State ran 10 plays, I believe it was, either in the second half or fourth quarter or whatever.
Yeah,
And
it was
even
fourth. I
Michigan
think it was
said,
the second half.
yeah, even Michigan said leading up to the game, they said, you know, if we can have a 1 possession game. Now, of course, this didn't come out to afterwards, but they said if we can have a 1 possession game in the fourth quarter, we'll feel really good about our chances and probably win.
Mm.
They didn't say they were going to win. They said if that scenario comes about. And I'm sitting there watching it like this is turning into the last 3 years again. And all it takes is that one missed tackle for Mullings at midfield. He takes it down. They get the field goal. You got 47 seconds left to work magic. And I don't understand the whole thought process when you came out cooking. Carnell Tate was killing whoever was guarding
Yeah.
him for Michigan. I don't even remember Emeka Ibuka really having an impact at all during the game, and that only had to be because they weren't going to it. And Jeremiah Smith drew like 3-4 pass interference,
Yep.
calls, and you go away from that. We got Tez in the house. He said, "What about their confidence as a team going into big games, or they just forget about this one and move on?"
Will we? I just want to say this: if they stay the same, Ohio State will be playing Miami first game.
Well, right now it's Tennessee.
No, I just looked at the
Miami,
rankings.
Miami
Miami's
Tennessee
ain't
is
even
not.
in the
better.
rating.
Miami's not in. They're like on the friends, what they call it, the
Oh,
bubble.
they
Yeah,
did. They not. Well,
they
I don't
took
know.
they took Miami out, put Alabama in, which I don't fuck. Excuse my language, which I don't.
Yeah, yeah. That's crazy
Well,
work.
Big John gonna
That's
feel some type way
crazy
about
work.
his cane.
I didn't even
But
peep
But
but
that.
that's
going to
recency
what
bias because it's Alabama, though.
yeah, but
And giving
going
them
to
the
what
benefit of the doubt.
Al said, everything you said was correct. But and I know one thing I hate and one thing you hate is dumb football. And what Michigan did, they played their part. They did exactly what they supposed to do. What do you do to a Patrick Mahomes? What do you do to an Allen? What do you do to a Big Trush? You keep they behind off the field. You keep
Keep
them
them
off the
out.
field. Shorten the possession. You ground and pound. If you have a good running game and an offensive line, you control the clock. You give them minimal chances to run the score up. They did what they supposed to do.
Oh
Now,
yeah,
And Will Howard also had some mistakes in this game as
we'll
well.
get to
oh
that
no,
in
no,
a
no.
second. We're getting to that in a second.
I got some stuff to say about that too.
But I
Yeah,
wanted to give. That's the only props I'm going to give Michigan is they did what they were supposed to do, like Big John said. They clearly, and that's the thing. Like I can't give them credit beyond that because Ohio State played dumb football, as your
Yeah, we
brother
did.
Calvin would say, um, and gave them that game. And again, he gets into speaking of Ryan Day, these situations and starts overthinking. But I want to go back to Tez's comment when he said, "What about their confidence as a team going into big games, or they just forget this and move on?" Um, that's going to be the hard part because when you go to one or two of these schools, your whole mantra, your whole off season, everything that you build your program about is that game or the game, as they
Mm-hmm.
call it. So it's going to be extremely hard for them to shake this. I'm not going to lie. Like, yes, they still have an opportunity to play for a national championship, but I wouldn't be surprised if they came out and there was still some hangover from this game and they did get popped by whoever, they play because it means that much and they put that, much emphasis on it. As far as going into big games, I don't know if it's a thing or not as closely as I follow and study Ohio State. I just know that at a certain point it will become mental, and I can tell you this game is mental at this point. Now it's not even necessarily about you executing on the field. Of course, that's part of it, and at the end of the day, what you have to do to win it. But yeah, there's a thing now for Ohio State because you've lost 4 years in a row. You can't act like there's not a thing. And the problem is Ryan Day, very similar to another coach who I love, Hall of Famer, but had the same issue, John Cooper. When he gets into this game, he changes the way he coaches, his mannerisms, hell, even his facial expressions. And I do think that translates to the team because they see that. And
because
then they
because
start playing tighter tennis.
because instead of playing your game, you're trying to prove a point. It's not about get out your way, let the ego go, play the game plan that you need to play to win the game. It's simple as that. When you try to be cute, you try to do all this extra stuff that goes away from your strength. You play every good coach, you play to the strength of your personnel, no matter what sport it is. It can be basketball, hockey, hoop, whatever you play to the strength of your personnel.
Yeah, Tim May was talking about that, who covered Ohio State for almost 30 something years for the Columbus Dispatch before he switched over to Letterman role. He was talking about, man, they did everything but take care of the most important letter. They crossed out M's across campus. They talked about the T word and toughness and everything, but they forgot the most important letter was the W and getting out of there with a W no matter what. And this whole bravado about we want to prove that we're tough and we can match up in the trenches. Let me tell you this. I will admit this about Michigan. Them two defensive tackles they had in the middle was the immovable object.
Yep. Didn't move.
It wasn't working. All right. And when it's clear that your advantages on the outside were working, I just think that was dumb. So you really let your personal feelings get in the way and derail, just like you did in 2022 when you cost yourself a national championship at CJ Stroud, the Heisman Trophy. This is that all over again. Now that year we got lucky, even in the four playoff team era, and Ohio State was picked. And going back to the other part of Tez's question, um, I think Ohio State responded just fine against Georgia that year in the playoffs. I mean, it
They
was
did, definitely.
a missed field goal away from advancing to the national championship, but the bottom line is you still came up short. So I don't think Ryan Day has a problem getting them ready to play these games. I think the issue is executing and winning these games, to be honest. They're always going to be ready to play because they have the talent and it's Ohio State, and in a lot of these cases, they have something to prove. So they'll be ready for that. But when you get in these moments where, dare I say, Kirby Smart, Urban Meyer, Nick Saban, where you have to make these in-game decisions to pull out these close games, I think that's where Ryan Day gets out of it. His
Excuse me.
own way or needs to get out of his own way. And my problem, everybody wants to talk about this $20 million NIL thing. Hell, Michigan paid $10 million for one player and Bryce Underwood to get him to flip from LSU to Michigan to come there. I'm more worried about the money spent between Ryan Day offensive coordinator Chip Kelly and defensive coordinator Jim Knowles, they paid enough money to have Chip Kelly leave another top tier Division One program, at least historically in UCLA, to come be an offensive coordinator. How much money do you think they paid him to resign as a head coach to come be an offensive coordinator?
It definitely gave him some change.
And it didn't work.
Excuse me.
You know, my problem is again, and this is irrespective of who you're rooting for. Ohio State clearly had the better team, and they squandered it. And for anybody that's sitting there saying, "Oh, you're putting too much emphasis on the game," go to hell is what I'm going to tell you at the end of the day. Because in my opinion, you can't put enough emphasis on that game. And to have to live with that for the next 363 days or however long it is, all because these fools squandered this. Like I said, I can't. I've defended Ryan Day as much as I can, but at the end of the day, if you look at his record against top 5 or top 10 opponents, it's not that great. And honestly, what you're being paid for at Ohio State, you're not being paid to beat. This is no disrespect to them, especially this year. You're not being paid to beat Indiana. Okay, you're not being paid to beat Northwestern, uh, Purdue, Illinois. You're being paid to beat Michigan, Penn State, and whoever else you match up top 10 wise in a bowl game or national championship. That's what it is. And when you're not getting that done, that's a fireable offense. In fact, for those that don't know, beating Michigan is in your contract when you sign on as head coach at Ohio State. And the new athletic director, first of all, he don't have any ties to Ryan Day. And I know he came out this week and said that that's his guy and they're focused on making a deep run in the playoff. Well, what else do you expect him to say? But I do want to remind people, this is the same guy that said that about Jimbo Fisher when he was the AD at Texas A&M, fired him and gave him an almost $70 million payout to get him out the door. So Ryan Day really has one option at this point, is win the national championship or he's going to be in trouble.
It's a fact.
Tony said Miami plays in a bad conference with really bad losses. I think that's what is hurting them, obviously, is the resume and then the bad losses
But
against
if
Georgia
you
Tech.
want, if you
Go
want to
ahead,
go,
you fan.
if you want to go to that, then you have to look at other bad losses because the 2 losses they had were actually the good teams. You can call it a bad conference if you want, but Syracuse lost 3 games. Georgia Tech lost 4 and took Georgia to the wire. That also beat Alabama. So it's not like they lost to 2 bad teams. Now, if you want to look at the teams Alabama lost to,
It was just bad.
The
I was
Georgia,
going to say that, Nate. Did you tag Brother Dwan?
Oh, I didn't, huh? Let me get
the
it.
teams Alabama lost to were bad teams. I know Vanderbilt is playing above their pay grade, but they still Vanderbilt. So it's really not the same. Then you look at the Tennessees, the Georgias, who gave it up to Florida, almost gave it up to Kentucky. So yeah, that bad team, they didn't lose to worse teams than the SEC. It's just
I'm
SEC.
going to be honest. I think Alabama has the worst loss out of anybody. And that's not being funny. I'm saying, honestly, because this isn't your father's Oklahoma or the Oklahoma even of our childhood growing up. Now, I should be one to talk because Ohio State just lost to a 5-loss Michigan team, but Alabama losing 24-3 to Oklahoma, I really didn't, expect that.
You lose to a declining Oklahoma,
You see that?
a Vanderbilt. Yeah, like those, I would rather have the losses we have than have those losses.
Yeah,
Because
Alabama fans
Vandy was
pissed me off
terrible.
too because my cousin Bernard, he gonna text me after the game talking about damn cuz good game. I'm like, listen, man.
So Tony, like I respect your opinion, but it wasn't that for me because if you look at it, the overall, it's not the same. And then them getting beat, the couple SEC teams that did get beat by Florida that we blew out.
Yeah.
I know teams get better as the season go on, but that was still a team that literally won 4 games and they beat 2 of the top 5 teams, and we blew them out.
I get you, Big John, but pivoting back to our original point, I had Michigan supporters hit me up and say, "Bro, we didn't have no business winning that game." Like,
That's for sure.
seriously, just being honest about it. Now, we didn't talk about Will Howard, and this is why I feel like Ohio State still pissed the game away. Obviously, Will Howard, the 2 interceptions you can't have. And people wonder why I put Craig Krenzel in my top 5 Ohio State quarterbacks of all time. This is an example why. Because he may not be the most athletic. He wouldn't even probably be your top 15 most athletic Ohio State quarterbacks. But I tell you what he wasn't going to do. He wasn't going to throw 2 interceptions in an important game
In
like
the red
that.
zone.
The red zone, nonetheless. And some people question whether Will Howard was the same after he got his bell rung or not. I don't know. Just there were a lot of bad throws when he did, get back in the game. And at the end of the day, he just didn't play well. Carnell Tate had a key drop. The field goal kicker, Fielding, misses 2 field goals from within 30 yards, which all things considered, you add in everything else, they hit those 2 field goals, they still win the game.
Yep.
And that's before you get to the offensive play calling. And I feel so bad for Jack Sawyer and all those kids who came back. They still have the opportunity to win a national championship. But let's be honest, a lot of them came back because they did not want to end their career saying that we never beat Michigan.
We never beat Michigan. That was the number one thing.
And Jack Sawyer, when he peeled back and got that interception, an Ohio kid, man, he was doing everything he could. He was trying to keep the crowd hyped throughout the game. When he peeled back and got that interception and we didn't do nothing with it, that's just crushing, man.
Yeah.
Caleb Downs getting that interception in Michigan territory and not doing anything with that. That's just crushing, man. Like momentum, I always say it, man. It's that silent stat, man.
Yeah. Everything you said was correct. And then like we going back to interceptions. You throw 2 interceptions in the red zone. That's 14 points off the board. You miss 2 field goals. That's 6 off the board. Even if he threw the 2 picks in the red zone and you get those 2 field goals, you still win 16-13.
Hey, I ain't even gonna hold you. I want to move past this because I'm just getting flashbacks. I was sitting
You get the 6 and you leave the 6 on the board. You still win 16-13.
So you're saying it's bad coaching, bad tackling, and bad QB play. Honestly, man,
all
it's
all
all
around
3.
bad game to me.
Defense still didn't play bad though, man. They gave up 10 points, and we're supposed to be an offensive juggernaut, with all these weapons, which we did not use, to our advantage. They had one sequence where it was a bad tackle. One more thing I want to bring up though. So the kid Mullings that talked all that mess. I'm trying to stay politically correct on here after the game. You had a good run, man. Because technically Ohio State blew that play up. He kept his foot in, he bounced off, and he made a good run. But that's still bad tackling. But that's my whole point about this game when I try to tell people, and I know Big John knows, but this is the little stuff that I was going over. I'm saying in that game, you have to be so locked in every single play. Every play matters in every game. But in the game, in that game, you just can't. There was another bonehead play that I haven't heard anybody talk about. The one touchdown that Michigan scored in the game. Alex Orji comes into the game for Michigan. And this is what pisses me off about people like Ryan Day and others and athletic directors, people that get paid millions of dollars that I'm not going to lie, I should be getting paid to do. They get paid millions of dollars to do dumb, I'm just going to say it, dumb shit and live to fight another day. Sonny Styles, I don't single out kids on here, particularly college kids, but I'm just going to say it was a mistake is all I'm saying. Alex Orji comes into the game for Michigan. If you watch Michigan at all this year, 99.9%, and that's still probably being overly cautious. When Alex Orji comes into the game for Michigan at quarterback, number 10, what's he going to do, John?
Sneak.
He's going to run the football. That's it.
That's the only reason they bringing him in.
So Sonny Styles comes down and he does what he's supposed to do with that linebacker slash hybrid safety position. He tries to seal the edge. Okay. But when you seal the damn edge, and this is for football players everywhere, when you come down and you set the edge, that's exactly what you have to do. You have to locate the football, the ball carrier, and make sure that you force him to cut back in where your help is. How in the hell he comes down, seals the edge, puts a nice hit on him, and totally loses the football and allows Orgy to sneak, what was that, 30-yard gain or something like that
Yeah.
to set up Michigan's only touchdown? This is critical stuff that can't happen in those games because when they say it's a game of inches, that's exactly what they mean, man. That set up Michigan's only touchdown of the game because you lost sight of the ball carrier and did not do your job in sealing the edge. It's that simple. It comes down to that in Ohio State Michigan games. Very rarely, outside of a few years where they had Rich Rod and Brady Hoke, are there blowouts in this game. It's always going to come down to one or two plays and who makes that play or who doesn't make that mistake. So to answer your question, I'm sorry to be long-winded, Tess, it's all the above, man. And then when Ryan Day starts overthinking and overcompensating and not being the coach that he is, and even Chip Kelly season up, which Big John talked about this with me off the record. He's got a history of when he gets punched in the mouth of, kind of being conservative and not being this wide open, offensive guru that, he's supposed to be billed as. That happened too. So that it's all the above, man, really. Tony said, how much confidence did Ryan have Howard after the early pick? Um
Can I
all I'm gonna
say?
say,
Can I say?
go ahead.
I think he lost confidence after the first pick. He lost confidence in him because he went on a brigade. Because after the first pick happened, he started running the ball a little more. But he ended up letting Will start throwing the ball again. But I think he had lost confidence at that point, to be honest.
I honestly don't think he lost confidence till Howard got his bell rung.
Mm.
And he came back in, and there were a few plays like, some of the passes he's trying to hit a Buke on where he was like 3 or 4 yards,
Yeah.
off. Or wasn't even close. Because, he had a couple more balls that should have been picks that weren't.
Yeah.
But,
Do you,
and that.
but do you
That's
leave
why they play
your guy
defense.
in, or do you roll with your guy? Or do you put Devin Brown in? I know it's easy to say now, but but as a coach, if
I
I see my
was
coach,
honestly getting hyped when Devin Brown came in the game, and he was hyping up the crowd or whatever, because I'm of the feeling, and I've said this before, I think Devin Brown can play a lot more than people will probably ever even find out at Ohio State, because now, Julian Sayans there, Aaron Nolan's probably leaving. You have the best player in the country, according to Rivals, and Tavian St. Clair, coming in. We'll probably never get to see Devin Brown, who was a top 5 quarterback himself in the recruiting class that he came out, in. But I guess in the game, you want to answer your question, you want to stick with your guy, but
So you do think Aaron Nola gone?
probably it's just not looking good on the depth chart right now, and that's not saying anything about him because I think he can play, and I was looking forward to seeing him be the guy at some point at Ohio State, but I think he did lose a little confidence in Will Howard, but then again, when they started airing it out again, doing that 2-minute drive to score before halftime, they were very effective.
Yeah, very much so.
They lost confidence in themselves and what they do best and played into Michigan's hand and the narrative and everything else. And I'm looking at Sharon Moore over there and I'm like, this mug, he's not doing anything, but then he is.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like he's coaching the game that he needs to coach for his football team to be able to win. But we're making it easy on him. One of the comments that Big John said that was a little funny. It wasn't funny after the game, but when he said Will Howard out here point shaving.
He was.
Yeah.
It
And then
seemed
you
like
got
it.
One of our
seems like
friends, who I won't name by name, says a dumbass comment. Uh, I can't say what the first part of what he said, but they should have got Cam Ward. No disrespect, Big John, but the same Cam Ward that just lost to Georgia Tech, and Kyle McCord, who left Ohio State last year because he couldn't get the job done. Like, what are we talking about? But again, that person who said that, I don't expect anything different from their commentary. I'm trying to be nice because I'm trying not to end our friendship, but it's just dumb.
Right.
And he got mad at me for calling him out on that and tried to disrespect my prowess and everything that I do. But I'll let it go, But y'all know who I'm talking about. Let me just stop, Big John, because I'm really close to saying his name or giving some type of clue that would really let it know who it is.
I get it, man, but let that go. But man, like like everybody gonna want another person when their guy isn't doing what they need to do. Like even making a comment about Cam, it kind of pissed me off the Georgia Tech game. It was his fault he lost the Georgia Tech game. The Syracuse game was on the coaching and the defense. But nevertheless, you always gonna want the next guy, or want a guy you feel is better when your quarterback isn't doing what you're supposed to do. But Will Howard has not had a bad year. I mean, this is probably the worst timing of all to have a bad game. But he had a bad game, and
he hasn't had a bad year, but he has had some bonehead moments, because you kind of joked about it when you said he's like Carson Palmer, like he has to get that one bad play out of his system before he locks in,
Right.
I don't know. I just think at this point Ryan Day needs to go, not because I'm one of them unrealistic bucknuts that have been saying that leading up to this point. It's just that game is what you're paid to do. And he clearly at this point has no idea how to do it. He's 1-4 against that team up north. And honestly, as much as I hate to admit it, that comment that Jim Harbaugh made about being born on third base is starting to look like it's the truth. Because like one analyst pointed out, I forgot who it was, whether it was Paul Feinbaum or somebody I was watching earlier. No, it might have been Colin Cowherd too. Was saying that Ryan Day was handed the keys to a Ferrari, and he never really drove one previous. He was an offensive coordinator. He had never been a head coach at any school. Coach Meyer came out high and heavy, recommended him for the job. And again, I'm not saying that Ryan Day is not a good coach. I still believe he's one of the top 5 best coaches in America. I do wholeheartedly. But that doesn't mean that he's equipped to get the job done against Michigan.
I don't think he's equipped at all. Because at this point, it's 4 years. It's a mental thing. At this point.
Now, I do want to point out, though, to Buckeye fans, though, Michigan fans were saying this exact same thing about Jim Harbaugh not all that long ago when he was 0-5 against Ohio State. And there were a lot of prominent former Michigan players like Amani Toomer, Braylon Edwards, and a lot of other people who wanted him gone.
Wanted him shipped out.
Because he was 0-5 against Michigan.
You don't have the
Yeah, and here comes Brewski with this shit. Okay, so who are you saying is better than Ryan Day currently outside of Kirby Smart?
Really, that's it. Honestly, that's it. that's the list. I mean, right now it's just him and Kirby Smart. There is no saving, and you don't have
because Dabo's on the downslide right now too.
First of all, like I said, I laugh and I joke and I talk my stuff about Ohio. I laugh and I joke and I talk my stuff about Ohio State, but y'all got me up here defending these cats. It's only him and Kirby. There is no Nick isn't coaching right now. Saban is retired.
Nick ain't
There is that is the list. Kirby Smart and him, it is the list. You got coaches that show flashes. Whether it's the coach
ain't Lincoln Riley.
Oh, Lincoln Riley ain't been the same since he left Oklahoma. And even when he was at Oklahoma, he still didn't win anything. So you got certain coaches that show flashes, but they always fall short. Whether it's Crystal Ball, whether it's the
Again,
coach
broski.
at
So,
Ole
so I'm
Miss.
asking you record wise, and this is statistically backed up as well. So I'm asking you who is a better coach right now than Ryan Day record wise or anything else. It's one thing to say that he's come up short in some of these top five matchups or against his biggest rival. But I'm asking you, you saying top five, so that means you clearly have four other coaches that you feel like resume wise and everything else and recruiting and everything else is better than Ryan Day. So I'm asking you who these other four guys are. Don't
Any
be a
coach,
prisoner of the moment and say that unnecessarily. I'm saying he should be gone because he can't beat Michigan.
any
But
coach,
to sit there and
And
say
don't
that
say
he's
Tommy
not a top
Tuberville.
five college football coach, a little bit asinine. I'm just saying. I'm not trying to be
any
funny, but even Sarkisian hasn't done enough at Texas to necessarily put him ahead of him either. So I'm asking you what. Okay, so you're going off coaching, and again, I'm saying, so what other four guys are you saying are better than Ryan Day when you're saying, oh, he's clearly
Right
not a
now,
top
we're not
five
talking
coach?
about the past either.
any guy you're gonna name is either in the NFL or is retired or isn't coaching right now. Like it really isn't anybody you can say.
Look at this. Look, you know, I worship the ground that Coach Prime walk on, but I can't go there
I
either.
give him another 2 years, and we'll see how he do in them trenches.
Give Prime some more time, and he ain't there yet. He's still my
Prime,
guy, one of
Prime
my
got to
favorite.
win a Big 12 championship or at least
Yeah.
make it to college football playoff or something before we even go
So
there.
are they in if they win? You think so?
Who?
Colorado.
No, they
No.
didn't. Yeah, no, hell no.
Even
After
with a
that loss,
win?
after that loss to Kansas, they don't even have a shot to get in. They're not in there.
They
They
actually
didn't got
went out,
they got
man. They're not even in the Big 12 championship
yeah they
game.
got they got 3 losses. They're not in the Big 12 championship.
Oh, I
It's
thought they was. Oh, that's right. They lost. They lost. They
So
lost. That's right. That's
all
right.
I'm asking, brother
Iowa
Brooks,
State.
is again, I just want a list of the other four coaches that you believe, because I'll give you Kirby Smart right now, but I
every
want
other.
to know resume wise, recruiting wise. I mean, honestly, even X's and O's wise, because like I said, we're a missed field goal 2 years ago against Georgia away from having a completely different conversation right
That's a
now.
fact.
And even if you and like you said, you can name some guys, but they have to do a little bit more. Like I like the coach of Notre Dame. I like Sarkisian. They still haven't done enough yet.
I love
So you
Marcus
can't.
Freeman. Honestly, that would be one of the people that I would want Ohio State to make a strong run at.
Mm-hmm.
With him being an alum and a former player, if he would leave. But again,
I don't think they go. I don't think Notre Dame gonna let him go.
well, I was going
He
to
is
say,
a
depending
dime.
on what happens
He's a
this year with
dime.
Notre Dame, we don't know, if he would even leave or entertain, or they throw that bag at him, that Irish pot of gold.
Yeah,
you know,
Yeah, it
um,
really like they really a dark horse in this playoff right now. I think they're gonna shock
for
some people.
sure.
but there's him. There's Mike Vrabel, Luke Fickle. All have to be on your short list. Right now for guys. I'm starting to hear rumblings that Urban is
Coming back.
that he's considering and would be open to returning.
Mm.
Now, you know me. I'm just throw this out here. I haven't said it because of my love for the program, and I don't want to get ostracized or people coming against me. But I still think the whole Urban leaving was orchestrated to begin with because of the whole Zach Smith situation and
Yeah,
what happened with him and his wife. I believe that was a pre-negotiated exit. The whole crap about the cyst on his brain and all that. I mean, if that was the case, you wouldn't have took 1 year off and went to Jacksonville to try to coach.
yep,
I believe that was orchestrated, step down, so we can do this from a PR standpoint and, the whole thing around domestic violence. But again, I still, question what you're expecting another grown man to do about another grown man's household and what he was supposed, to do. And the fact that he did alert his supervisor at the time, Gene Smith, the athletic director, on what he heard, not witnessed, not took place on campus or anywhere around me. I heard what might have happened. And this other grown man's household, but you're gonna hold me accountable for it. But
Yeah,
anyway,
Right.
that's just another situation under the water.
so Brewski got kind of quiet. I still waiting on this list of this other four
He
college.
I
ain't
mean,
got one. Let's go. He ain't got one.
you can say who you feel. Like I can roll off some names, but it's still gonna have less bite to it because all the people you can name haven't done enough. You can speculate what they're gonna do.
This dude really put Brian Kelly on here.
First of all, Brian
Dan
Kelly.
Lanning, who
Okay, okay. Let's just look at
well,
Brian
this
Kelly.
ain't.
You going off?
Hold on, Bay John. Before I'll let
I
you have a
like
Brian
Kurt though.
Kelly.
I like Kurt for Indiana.
No, I'm not letting you
but
have a Brian Kelly.
He's
Because
not. He's not up in that 5.
Kurt Signetti.
No.
What?
Brian, no.
Brewski just naming coaches now.
Brian Kelly, if you want to talk that stuff, Brian Kelly has the same issue as Ryan Day. He can't win no big game.
How many top 5 finishes has Kurt Signetti had in his first and only year at Indiana? How many conference championships has he won? Then you name Matt Campbell at Iowa State. Like, that's like naming who was my guy that was the former offensive coordinator at Ohio State that flamed out at Texas and Houston.
Yeah, I know you're talking about.
What was that? I know you're talking about. I can't think of his name.
Brain fart right now, but yeah.
I like Kurt, but no, this is
how many Big 12 championships has Matt Campbell?
Yeah, he replaced Charlie.
How many college football playoffs has Matt
right,
Campbell been to? And then you name Dan Lanning. If that ain't recency bias out of you know what?
Yeah, come on, man. Nah, I can't get down with that, Brewski. Nah.
You're talking about two completely different things. Him beating Michigan and whether he's a top 5 college football coach, resume wise, and
what my boys say. Hey, that list is trash. What are you talking about, cuz? That was terrible.
Now those may be guys. Those may be guys that you.
These are new coaches coming to big programs.
But here's the
that
thing.
Ain't gonna work. That's not how this works.
Here's the thing.
They just got here. And you giving them all this solidifying?
You may like how they do X's and O's, but they haven't proven anything. They haven't proven that they are capable. That's fine.
One of them just came out of FBS.
No. I do that.
Okay. So anyway, because what he's doing right now, and Ted said this too, and said he's the best at recruiting. Because we're getting ready to move on from this. It gives me strong John Cooper vibes, right? The only reason.
LeBron got it going.
The only reason John Cooper lasted as long as he did in Columbus is because when you recruit players like Eddie George, Terry Glenn, and Sean Springs, and Orlando Paces, David Boston's, I could go on and on, the Antoine Winfields, Ahmad Plumbers, Michael Wiley's, all these guys, even the tail end of John Cooper before he left, the Michael Jenkins, the Chris Gambles, essentially Jim Tressel won with a John Cooper team.
He did.
The only freshmen that he recruited that actually played really that year were AJ Hawk and Maurice Claret. He essentially won. Mike Doss, all of them had been there already under John Cooper. Which is about, y'all got it, bro. I can't argue from the chat. I mean, but there's really no argument. Like, what you essentially just did was become a prisoner of the moment, bring up guys that either have no resume at all, haven't even won a damn conference championship in the conferences that they have coached with, and tried to play a what-if game. Oh, well, if they had this and this talent. Dude, Matt Campbell coaches at Iowa State. You brought up Kurt Signetti off one season of, they had an above-average year this year, but I'm like, what are you basing? I don't understand how that qualifies him for anything off 1 year at Indiana, where he still didn't reach a conference championship either, and lost to the team and the head coach that you're saying doesn't match up wits with 38-15. Like, what are you talking about?
You can only, like I said, even when I made a comment about Notre Dame's coach, and a few others. You can only
Hey, you get mad, but I'm just bringing up facts. Like, what are you talking about? What has Matt Campbell done at Iowa State besides beat Kirk Ferentz in Iowa?
You can only speculate.
I low key want to bring him up because I want to hear this argument.
You can only.
I want to low key bring him in.
And then the Dan Lanning thing is definitely a prisoner at the moment, and we still don't know how that is going to end this year, to be honest. But it's like, okay. And Dan Lanning's so great, but he won by 1 point at home due to a questionable offensive pass interference call at the end of the game that took Ohio State out of field goal range to close like the game. Like, and Brian Kelly, like I said, Big John, I'll let you handle that one. Go ahead.
Like I said, Brian Kelly got the same issue as Brian Day. Yeah, he will win. He will win games. He will get you there, but he can't win a big game. But this year, in the past couple years at LSU, he ain't even really been doing nothing. He been getting his head kicked in.
Yeah.
Even if your point, Brewski, is what you think these coaches would do with Ryan Day's talent, we don't know because they aren't in that position. And what they have done with what they do have still isn't enough of a resume builder to say they're a better coach than Ryan Day. And Brian Kelly, I'm truly not impressed. I'll be honest with anything that he's done since overachieving at UC for a couple years. I'm really not.
The only person you probably could have named, and I know Alex don't like him, but he's the only person that got the resume and the wins, right? And that's Dabo. That's really it.
So
like, he has
which I would be okay with based on the resume and overall, accomplishments that he's done. But like I said, I feel like he's on the downside now.
I mean, he's on the downside, but he still got his team in the ACC.
I mean, he's got 2 national championships. So if you want to say Kirby Smart, Dabo, I'm with. But I said Ryan Day is a top 5 coach in America, and Brewski's literally sitting here saying, no, he's not a top 5 coach. And I'm saying, okay, outside of Kirby Smart and Dabo, because the old man is retired, and that would still be 3. And even if you want to add Jim Harbaugh in, that's 4, who's no longer coaching in college football. I'm asking you again, out of the coaches that are left, the Sarkisians, the Lincoln Rileys, Brian Kelly, and I'm just going off the high profile names. James Franklin, you might be able to add in there. I'm really searching because there's nobody else. Like, Florida's down. Florida State ain't crap right now. Like, I'm asking, Jimbo is not coaching right now. Like, what other college football coaches have the amount of wins, the resume, like it or not,
and don't say Tommy Tuberville.
Irrespective of his record against his rival, match Ryan Day's resume. So that's what I'm saying. Like, people get this stuff out of sorts. It's like they do this with Marvin Lewis. They want to talk crap about him or say he was garbage or he sucked or whatever. And I'm like, well, first of all, that rooster is starting to rear his head right now anyway, but I'm not going to go in to that.
You might as well pivot now. You might as well.
Yeah, I'm going to pivot. 15 years previous to Marvin Lewis, you didn't have a winning season at all. Didn't go to the playoffs at all. Okay, yes, he was 0-7 in the playoffs. But again, you are totally missing the 15 years previous. You're totally missing the changes that he made to that organization to make them legit. And some of the reprieves that he got from the front office to get them to change, to be a little bit more modern than they are now, for somebody like a Zach Taylor to come in and take advantage of that and or the players that he has at his disposal right now. So people get too caught up in the right now and the emotions fresh or whatever. And like I said he should be fired because he lost to Michigan 4 straight years in a row. But to sit there and act like he's not a top 5 coach or a potential future college football Hall of Fame coach like John Cooper was, like Earl Bruce was at Ohio State, that's just being stupid. I'm sorry. Like, there's no other way to put that or phrase it differently. That's just garbage.
You can't be what you say 63-10 and not be a
66-10.
66-10
and not be a top 5 coach. there's nobody with the exception, like you said, of Kirby Smart and Dabo Swinney that has a better resume than
And
Ryan
if
Day.
you look at those losses, they've all either come to Michigan or other top 5 or top 10 teams. Like Ryan Day honestly don't have a bad loss on his resume.
No,
He other than this one against Michigan, but again, when it comes to rivalry games and as Urban Meyer would say, greatest rivalry in all of sport, not just college football, records kind of don't matter going into that game. And that's what I was explaining to Big John. Like it wasn't in the bag just because of Ohio State's talent. And for even Brucey to say that, well, man, if they had this and this, it is a different game. And if you don't understand that, then you might as well not even cut on the TV. It is a different game. I've seen both teams, Ohio State and Michigan, beat the opponent when you would think they had no chance in hell going into that game because it is a different game. They're going to play different on that Saturday. And it's still about who plays best and coaches best on that particular Saturday. Stop looking at the record. Stop looking at the odds that the bets made with MGM and FanDuel. That ain't got nothing to do when it comes to this game
no.
at all. So I wanted to transition because there was a story that came out today as we talk a little bit of boxing before we get out of here. That Tank Davis said he was going to retire um, after
The
3
Roach fight.
fights from now. Now I don't know if he will or not, but is there somebody that? Well, first I want to ask: do you all believe that he would stay true to that and
No, I
retire
don't.
after 3 fights? No.
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 Okay. Let's say he does. Is there a particular fight that you want to see Tank take before he does retire? If this is true,
Loma.
you want to see Loma still,
Yeah.
Big John.
I'm not sure, brother. Like I said, I defer to y'all when it comes to boxing.
I
I
don't
don't,
want
I
to
don't
see.
know.
I'm gonna go down the list. I don't want to see Shakur because Shakur's gonna run in the fight. I don't want to see Devin Haney because he's gonna knock him out. I don't want to see him fight whoever they was. I don't want to see him fight Pitbull again. I just don't see the entertainment when it comes to somebody matching him shot for shot, blow
There
for
was
blow.
another fighter that somebody brought up.
Ryan Garcia.
They said they want to see a Ryan Garcia rematch.
Why?
Another one that I thought about is what if Tank moves up to welterweight and fights what's his name? Tuliomo.
Teofimo Lopez.
Yeah. That would
He
be the only one
could.
that I'm interested
He
in
could,
seeing.
but I think he'll knock him out too.
At 147?
Yeah.
Mm,
I know you say everybody talking about that weight translation when you go into the next
mm.
level, but T.O. has been shown that he can be knocked down.
Tank is
That's
only
my big
five
thing.
five, man.
That's true, but is the Mike was the shortest in the heavyweight division, and he still was putting them down. He's putting 6-footers down.
Well, that's different. And I want to give a shout out to Mike and hope that he never puts on another pair of gloves to fight in
Man,
an
what's this?
exhibition or
They
real
trying to get him to
professional
fight him
fight.
again.
Just don't, Mike.
They want him to fight him again.
But I
Everybody
also
was
want to
saying he was
warn that.
holding back.
I also
Everybody,
okay, even if they want to say that, I also want to warn the average Joe Smo out there not to run up on Mike and think that you got a chance
no, don't do
to
that. Don't do
to
that.
be either and end up like that dude at the airport.
Yeah, don't end up like dude at the airport.
Because
This dude was
boxing
trying to,
and
he shouldn't
a
have been
real
messing
fight
with him.
is two different things.
Yeah.
Ted said, "Can y'all do a segment on the best player in the NBA right now?" LaMelo. I'm a huge LaMelo Ball fan. I would be a even more huge LaMelo Ball fan if he got out to my Los Angeles Lakers. I don't know who the best player is right now. He could be in the argument. You could say, I
Jalen
don't know.
Brown after the injury. Right now, I've been
You
watching
just a
NBA a lot.
Celtic fan, man. So of course
I
you
know,
go
no. I'm about to give you
say
a list.
Jaylen Brown.
I'm about to give
I
you a
think
list.
Jason Tatum is better than Jaylen Brown.
Well, that's another day. That's an argument for another day. It's an argument for another day. But no, I'm gonna say right now in the league, far as everybody that's doing great and is showing relentless play. Hey, so
Get Nate going to the daddy mode.
yeah, so I'm gonna say this. This my list is right now. Steph Curry's playing to his ability right now. I also say Giannis and Dame are doing it every night. Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown are doing it every night.
Are you talking about the
Uh,
next generation, or are you talking about the old guys included?
no. I'm talking about everybody right now that's playing good right now in the NBA.
Then why
Me
didn't
being
you
a
mention
sports
Anthony
betting
Davis then?
fool and being
Then why
big
didn't
on
you
the
mention
NBA,
Anthony Davis then?
I was just going to get there, but he's been on the slouch the last couple games, so
Bro, he's damn near averaging 30 and 15
he
like
ain't do it the
this
game. He ain't
year.
do it the last game. He ain't do it the game before that. Al, you can promote him. Yeah,
You
I'm
talking
not going
about
to take.
two
Hold on,
games.
hold on. I'm not. No. I'm not going to take anything from Anthony Davis. Anthony Davis is playing All Star basketball right now, but he is by himself because LeBron James is coasting. LeBron James does not show up every day, so everything's focused on Anthony Davis.
Don't make
Anthony
me go
Davis
into
can't
But
compete,
it's
dude.
supposed
That
to
man
be.
not playing hard.
Skip
It's
Bayless
supposed to
mode.
be. It's
Le,
supposed to be focused on him.
LeBrick
No,
James
this is my thing.
LeBrick James is
This is the
almost 40
basketball.
years
This is the
old, man. He's
basketball
going
part
to
of me.
have nights off.
No, this is the basketball part of me. I understand this is year what 22, whatever it is. This is that year. I have
Father
sat here
Time
and
is
watched at
undefeated.
least. I've watched at least damn near all the LA Lakers games, and that man coasts on the defensive end. You can't do that, and you putting your
He's
team.
40 years old.
That's correct. That's what I'm saying. Sit down. It's time to sit down.
Anyway,
I'm
your
just being honest.
Celtics
It's just time to
are
sit down.
not in the in-season tournament. They've been knocked out. But the second best team in the Eastern Conference right now is squarely in the New York Knickerbockers. I just want to throw that out there.
That was where I was going next.
They're playing really
That's
good
where I
ball
was
right
going
now
next.
with
Jalen
Jalen
Brunson and
Brunson
Carl
and the
Anthony
Big
Towns are
Cat.
playing amazing.
Yes, he is.
They are playing amazing. I was going there next.
My
You
New
so
York
stuck on
Knicks.
LA first. You didn't even let me get that far. I was going to New York next.
Go New York, go New York, go.
New York is probably the most dangerous team in the NBA right now, and people ain't paying attention.
Yeah, yeah. Look, Ted say Brunson Cole. Yes,
Yeah,
he is.
and Ant Man been playing top tier too.
I think Minnesota's still trying to figure out that new team though, like around him, like DiVincenzo, my man Julius Randle. Like they're still trying to figure
Yeah, they
that
are.
dynamic out. And said
Yeah, they beat
Donovan.
up
You
on the
know
Lakers
what?
though. And
Ted's
Donovan
like
Mitchell, I agree.
I
Donovan
like
Mitchell,
Donovan Mitchell, but he
you think he a ball hog, don't you?
No, he's just.
no.
I know what Alex want to say. He's like that tweener. Like he ain't a superstar. He a little bit better than an all-star. He just can't get all the way
He's
over.
like
Like you,
he's like Jimmy Buckets on steroids, man. Like
yeah. Like
he's an all star, but like, is he gonna be the reason why you win a championship? No.
he's probably somebody's fabulous great number two. I don't see him being a number one guy.
I see
And I think
him.
he a little sensitive, that new school. Like when Shaq tried to motivate him and say what he needed to be scoring on a nightly basis, he got all sensitive and stuff. And I'm like,
But
ah
now he's
man.
doing it though. Now he's doing it, which is crazy to me.
Well, you heard what Sir Charles said yesterday. First of all, I don't believe that. I'm not a believer in the Cavaliers. I don't care what the records say.
It's a lot of people like that. They don't believe in the Cavs. I don't either. I see them running into either New York, Boston, and New York, Boston, or even Milwaukee, and not getting past them.
What you say about your Celtics, Nate? What's the saying?
Green is for the money, gold is for the honeys. That's what it's about over here.
You know, Cleveland got to prove it in the playoffs, man.
Yeah, for sure. And they haven't. Because Darius Garland don't show up. He disappeared. And Evan Mobley ain't consistent.
And you know another player, Tez, the league kind of got lucky that he got hurt. What's my man down there in Orlando?
Oh yeah,
Paolo.
Yeah,
yeah.
Banchero.
Even though he hurt, they don't know when he
How
coming
long?
back.
How
That's
long he out?
crazy.
He hurt? How long he out?
Yeah, he been.
He
It's
done for the
almost been a
year.
month now.
So Ted said we doing too much. So who is the best player in the league? John, who's the best player in the league right now?
That's tough. That's tough.
It's hard, yeah.
I
I,
know
I would say
TB was
Paolo.
on here. He was
Paolo looks unstoppable right now.
Right
Before
now,
he got hurt.
the talent is so spread out, man. It's
But if you had to choose one player, I know if TB was here, he would say Giannis.
I'm going with Ant-Man.
You going with Ant-Man, Big John? Who you going with?
I'ma say your light skin homie for the Celtics. But if I didn't choose him, it would be Ant-Man. But I'm gonna say Tatum. And I was on wax and saying Brown is better than Tatum. Some nights he is, but I'm gonna just say Tatum.
Yesterday he was. Brown was definitely yesterday the man. Who you going with, Al?
First of all, I'm on my old Joe Budden, Kevin Garnett, OG hater status. I don't like none of them, to be honest, but
they got Ja to put the pistol down for a while. We're gonna see what he do.
Victor Ambiana, whatever his name is.
You talking about Wemby?
Wemby.
It's easy to say Giannis, man, because Giannis is just so great, but he didn't have some couple slow years.
Bro, I love LaMelo Ball. He's certainly my favorite.
I'm with
point
you on
guard.
Melo, but I'm
if I had to pick a player, and I'm sorry, Tez, I can't answer it directly. If I had to pick a player that I like to watch night in and night out, it would probably be LaMelo Ball or a healthy Joel Embiid.
Yeah, I would have said Joel too.
I think he's done. I think Joel's done, to be honest. He's got the medical issues. He's got the life-threatening issues. I personally think he's been in the league 10 years, so he'll get his pension. I think he needs to free Philly, to be honest.
Nobody said Kyrie Irving.
Nope. I fool with
Kyrie is done.
I fool with Kyrie.
Huh?
I fool with Kyrie, but
I think Kyrie done.
No, Kyrie's still balling. He's still playing. He's doing good.
He balling. Like he with Luka, they doing their thing, you know.
Mm-hmm. Great two-man combo.
You talk about Embiid?
Yeah. Embiid, Kyrie, everybody, I love Kyrie. The number one thing is me with a coach, I used to always promote kids finishing at the basket, and I used to refer to Kyrie. Watch what he does. He finishes at the basket. He uses the square. Doesn't matter when he's going for the layup. It doesn't matter where he's at. He's going to hit that spot. He's going to make sure that ball going in the basket.
Knicks Celtics is going to be epic this year, bro.
For sure. I think we play Christmas. That's what word it was.
But before I forget, I want to pivot back because I didn't ask this question. The rematch. Usyk versus there's only one Tyson Fury. Is Father Time gonna win, or do we expect Tyson Fury to get his belts back?
I don't see him getting them back.
See, I explained to Big John the problem with Usyk. Usyk is that Trace McSorley what's the quarterback that just left Michigan last year? And don't tell me y'all having a brain fart. Somebody tell me his name.
I'm having a brain fart, but the one that played for Minnesota. Yeah, him.
AJ McCarthy.
JJ McCarthy.
JJ
Thank you.
McCarthy. My bad. I said AJ.
That means grab your phone and find it, though,
Yeah,
fellas, right
JJ
away.
McCarthy. As soon as he said Minnesota, I knew who it was. Yeah.
Jesus, man. um, of course, Reem pops up with the answer. I didn't even know Reem was here. A shout out to Reem. Thank you for wishing me a happy birthday and not pissing me off in the process. So, uh, that guy, speaking of Usyk, he's not a real heavyweight, so he's like that tweener. He's real hard for heavyweights to fight. I got to give it to Nate though. Um, he was right. My boy Anthony Joshua will never regain the heavyweight title. He's pretty much done, just like the Bronze Bomber at this point. But they did bring the heavyweight division back.
They
Them three:
did.
Tyson Fury, Deontay
It's some
Wilder,
good young talent
and
around here
Anthony
too, man.
Joshua.
You gotta start paying attention.
Now it is.
Yeah,
And I tell you what, Big Baby Anderson kind of pissed me off.
he
I
pissed
hope
everybody out.
I hope he's back in the lab, working on his craft, doing what he needs to do. Cause he did that same answer that all cats do. Like LeBron does it too. When people start criticizing him now, it's all about, hey man, I'm just here for the kids and happy to take care of my family. All right, but
Nah,
you
the
lost.
fire got lit under him after he after that whole situation after that loss. That
I
loss
don't
was
know, cause I
embarrassing.
remember him on camera crying, talking to Roy Jones, talking about he didn't want all the pressure and I didn't ask for all this and blah blah blah.
Boy, you got in the ring.
This ain't the
You got
sport
in the
for that,
ring.
brother. This ain't the sport for that, brother.
This
You,
ain't the sport.
you get
It's
your
an
head knocked
individual
off
sport.
if you ain't really in
This
it.
ain't a team sport. You could have played football like you originally was and stuck with that.
Get your head knocked off. Yeah, he would have been a nice defensive end, 6'4", 250. You know, I'm glad that you're taking care of your daughter, but this ain't the sport just for that.
Not at all. Hey, Jonathan Isaac get hurt every season. This is why they need to let him go in Orlando.
Yeah, it does sting, Rain, when you know that you clearly had the better football team. And like I said, you probably joined in late, irrespective of who you root for. That's irrelevant. Like I said, I had Michigan fans tell me straight up, y'all should have won that game, which we know, and it just is what it is. But at the end of the day, we can do all these what if scenarios. Michigan won, so it is what it is. Yeah, man. So I wanted to make sure going down um, our list that I didn't miss anything. We lightly touched on the Bengals, but honestly, there's not really too much to say right now. Um, Shout out to UC basketball legend, friend of the show. He's been on twice. He was actually our first in person guest. Tony Baloney, the great Tony Bobbitt. Talked to him yesterday for a bit. He tried to call me back, but he got them crazy hours. He called me back 12:30 at night. I was asleep.
Oh
So
yeah, it was over for that.
um, whatever, Reem.
Now watch the replay. That's crazy. Shorter basketball gamble Friday. I'll be there, front row and center.
Nate, you doing the books?
Yeah, Will be want me to do the offensive rebounds and assists, all that other stuff.
Well, I think that's good because I think you better at doing the books than I am. And
You just marking points? Is that what you was doing?
why you said something?
No, I was just asking. I realized,
Uh,
but now like me doing the statistician for the last 3 years, I just realized some people like they just write numbers, and I'm like,
No, I was doing the points because I'm not gonna lie, it was kind of hard for me to
It's
keep
hard to
track
keep
of
up. It's hard to keep
rebounds
up.
and assists and stuff like and that was my first year doing it.
Mm-hmm.
But at the end of the day, um, Dwan knows this. First of all, I love Will. I love the basketball program too. But yeah, y'all know what my sport is, and I was there every
Football.
game except Talawanda and the Tennessee game. I couldn't go down to Tennessee. Um, but shout out to Darren, Jay, Juan, the rest of the staff. Y'all know what it is. I'll be there to support Will on a few games this year, but I can't sign up to do the books, man. I need my free time this year. My mental health is on zero right now. I'm being totally transparent with people, so I need my time to myself right now.
Nah, that's understandable. I respect it. You learn, you live, and you learn. You're moving in a certain way. You move in a certain direction. My thing is, I always promote mental health due to the fact that people just scared to talk about it.
Yeah, man.
Be scared to talk about what's going on in your brain. If you're struggling with something, you're struggling with something.
It's serious, man. I tell you what else is serious. So I went down to campus a couple days ago. Finally got my UC basketball Jordan brand shorts. There is literally nowhere to park on that freaking campus
No, not at
anymore.
all.
Even if
Not
you
without
park
a
in a
pass.
garage, you still got a nice walk to the
Yeah.
bookstore or the arena, wherever you going. You know,
I
I
think
get
that's
down
one of the
there.
biggest thing UC is messing up on because they're putting so much into dormitory and redoing the structure of UC. They're not even paying attention to parking.
They trying
Parking
to
is the
keep up
last
with
thing.
certain places and certain
Yeah.
schools that they coincidentally don't like and try to compete with. And oh, by the way, thank you for reminding me before I get to that because I did get my shorts, but I had to walk a country mile, and then I lost my damn car because I couldn't remember which garage I parked in because they sort of connected and stuff like that. Anyway, but I want to bring up something, and this is probably going to end up being a teaser clip. So I can't for the life of me understand, and it comes from a lot of people who didn't play the game or don't understand the game of football and the mentality that goes into it. Big John, I want you to chime in on this one too. Why is there so much pushback? Why are there people actually vilifying and getting upset that the Ohio State University and Florida State University did not allow their rivals to disrespect them after already winning the game by planting their flag in the middle of the field in their logo? Why is there such pushback? And people actually holding Ohio State or Florida State accountable or vilifying them or trying to be sympathetic. Oh, there were two Michigan players that got maced by police. They started it. They put the damn flag in the middle of the field. What are you talking about? Why are you upset?
Even
And
Steve
I get the
Sarkisian said,
whole, oh, you had 60 minutes to hash it out on the field, blah, blah, blah. Okay. And I even said that to my players when I coached. Don't be Mr. Get Bad after the game. But there's a difference between me being a sore loser and just starting to fight just because we lost versus you doing something disrespectful. At the end of the day, Michigan started that and didn't have to do that. And that ugly running back, they got Mullings that wanted to get on camera and try to make something out of it. At the end of the day, and yes, I'm taking a personal shot. At the end of the day, you won. Go sing your fight song. Go say hail to the victor. Get your ass on the bus and go back home. Grab your little sandwiches from the sandwich shop that I know y'all get the box lunches from up there in Columbus every time y'all play at Ohio State and go home. You didn't have to do that. That was disrespectful. And I don't blame the Florida State players for not letting the Gators do that either. That's over the top.
Yeah, that's
We
not
wouldn't
hey.
allow it in high school either or
Nope.
college. I'm telling you right now, even in Pee Wee. Dewan, I hope you still here. I would have dared the Evanston Bulldogs to try to plant a flag in the middle of Stewart Park and see what you had coming. Same thing for West End Jaguars. Am I missing something, y'all?
No, not at
no,
all.
they won the game. Like even Steve Sarkisian said that was some bull. Like, all right, you won the game. You did what you had to do. You came. You saw. You conquered. You're not going to disrespect me. You're not going to do that. Even I had a problem with when Baker did it a couple years ago. They should have jumped on him too.
They should have murked him.
But like I said, it's just whether it's Roy Williams chasing down Terrell Owens and pushing him off the star, it's just certain stuff you just don't do.
Come
It's just
on.
certain stuff you don't do.
And
Like,
Emmitt Smith running to the middle of the field, putting the ball there. Like, come on, bro.
right. Yeah.
Respect ain't the same. That's what it
So it's
seems
like
like.
I said, you won the game, but you're not gonna be disrespectful in our home field. You're not about to do it. And
Yeah.
like I said, that's just disrespectful. You can win. Like there is a such thing as being a poor winner, bro. You won. You did what you're supposed to do, but you're not gonna disrespect me. I'm not gonna let you. You already beat me. You're not gonna kick me when I'm down. You're not about to do that.
That's it. Say hail to the victor. Say the Michigan fight
Go
song.
on about your business.
Get on the bus, grab your little sandwiches, and go back to Ann Arbor, and you can
Just
say
go
and do
home and
whatever
go
the
on
hell
about
you
your
want
business.
when you get back to Ann Arbor. But I'm not gonna let you go to the middle of my field, particularly somebody like Jack Sawyer, who again I don't understand what people expected. An Ohio kid born and raised outside of Columbus, 4-year starter at the Ohio State University, and came back for this game. Yeah, it didn't go his way, and he's allowed to be pissed off and upset that it didn't. That's another thing. I don't get that either.
And I think the thing that's that I have a problem with that's making me mad about it is like you said. All right, you won, but then you get mad because I don't let you disrespect me. You get mad because I'm not letting you do what you want to do.
That's what's crazy about it.
I'm wrong for defending myself against the disrespect.
At my school,
Just because you
and
won. Just because you won, you're allowed to disrespect me. Just because you won.
and y'all remember when we were waiting for our Uber or Hassan to come get us from homecoming at UC. Y'all remember my cat that I went to UC with and graduated with, worked at Dick's Sporting Goods, John Callender, that walked by with his wife.
Yeah, I remember.
You talking about white? Oh, I didn't mean to say white boy though. But yeah.
Yeah, he's a white brother. Yeah. So gave a big hug because he actually lives in Chicago now. So he came back for UC
For homecoming.
homecoming. Yeah. But I used to have this conversation with him even when we worked together and stuff. Because he's one of those pro UC guys that somehow, even though he was born and raised in the suburbs of Cleveland, he has no affinity for Ohio State, and I don't really like them, da 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 da, and all this, blah blah blah. I'm like, okay. I used to tell him all the time, regardless of whether you like them or not, that's still your state university, and there is no rivalry between them and UC, and one does not affect the other. And I don't care if Ohio State went 0-10, it's not going to make UC into a football school.
Mm-mm.
So he made a comment about that, saying, "Oh, OSU has to be better," and that was so classless and da 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 da. After the game, and I'm like, "What are you talking about, John?" I'm like, and John never, did anything, wrong or anything. Like that's my boy. Like he actually likes some of our posts from Factual Opinions and repost stuff, so he's a good supporter. But I'm only bringing it up because he brought it up, and there were a few other people that chimed in, and I'm like, this is my thing with that. And I told Calvin the same thing. I said, if you have no affinity or connection and or love for your state university and victory, then you should have no care or opinion in defeat either. That's just my thing. Like if they truly mean nothing to you and you don't feel anything for them, then why are you chiming in when they lose either? Because that's the other problem I had. There were so many people trolling and making posts, and a lot of it was people that don't have a connection to either school, don't have a horse in the race, didn't play football growing up. And I'm not saying that you have to play football to be a fan or anything like that, but I'm just saying like there were legitimately people just trolling just to troll. And that's what gets so irritating about this rivalry, because I'm like, there are those of us that live, breathe, it 24 hours, 24/7, 365 days a year. Some of y'all just tune in just to troll. So I asked him as I transition to this before we get out of here. I said, how would you feel if a Xavier player ran out on the court like Bill Laimbeer used to before the game and spit in the middle of the Bearcat icon in the court and drubbed his foot over it, or if UC did have a rivalry against Xavier in football, if Xavier had a football team, if they tried to plant the flag, I bet you feel a lot different about that.
For
If a
sure.
UC player jumped on it and said, "Nah, that ain't happening," you know. So that's my whole thing. Like, I just don't understand people vilifying Ohio State, for that, or responding and then trying to be sympathetic to Michigan because a few of their players got maced. I'm like, I'm sure Columbus PD did mace the hell out of them, or Ohio State police. I don't know that they specifically targeted Michigan players when probably doing it. They were just probably trying to break up the melee, one way or another, regardless. But if they did mace Michigan players, serves you right. They were the ones that started it. There wouldn't have been no,
Wouldn't been no Mason.
on the field had they just, even if they ran by with their flag waving it on the way to the locker room. Like, they did that intentionally, and you got what you were looking for. Period. Point blank.
And not to be funny, man, because we've all worked with kids in some capacity, but that's what this new generation does. Like, they take it too far with the disrespect. They kind of do, man. And it's like, but when you meet one and you catch your match, then why are you getting so mad? Why are you being disrespectful?
Yeah.
You know what I compare it to, and it's maybe not as drastic, and I wholeheartedly agree, Big John. One of y'all showed me, actually, the kid that was some rapper, I think in Philly or something,
Yeah,
that
me.
was that
Yeah,
was digging up the grave of one of
yeah,
his
yeah,
rivals,
yeah,
and he
yeah,
ended up getting shot himself and died.
yeah, yeah.
You taking it too far. You being disrespectful. Don't be mad when you get what you got coming.
For sure.
Sorry. I don't get that. But speaking of, so it was a tough weekend because we had the Buckeyes lose to that team up north. Matter of fact, Mike came through with the crew from Allegheny County and did what they did against our Bengals. Now we got the crosstown shootout coming up soon. UC just suffered their first loss of the year against Villanova last night.
Hmm.
I really need a victory in that crosstown shootout, bruh. Bad.
Yeah.
What Medea say? Bad.
Yeah. I'm just a little concerned about it. Um, I'm just a little concerned how they gonna handle back the back to back. Like, will they come off this with the energy they need, or will they be in the slump they went through with that game?
I think we'll be all right. We'll be at home. I'm looking for Jizzle James and company to rise up. Excuse me. I was hoping that Dan Skillings would be back by now. Anytime you're missing your leading scorer, that always hurts a little bit.
Yeah, it definitely
But
does.
we'll see
Did
what
they give a
happens.
timetable for him?
It's day to day.
Mm,
But that was my fear. Whenever somebody has knee surgery or something like that, you can put out a timetable or a window, but there's no window for that. It's how that person's body responds.
that's a fact.
Alonzo Ball was supposed to be out, for a minimal amount of time, a few weeks, and he hasn't played in what, 2 years now. It just
Yeah.
depends on how your knee responds, man. So I think we covered everything that I wanted to cover today. I want to appreciate everybody for tuning in. If you missed the live stream audio or your friends missed it, make sure you share it with them. The audio will be uploaded to Amazon Music, iHeartRadio, Apple Podcasts, and Spotify as usual. So, a lot to talk about. We were supposed to have a special guest on here today who should be coming next week. Again, I want to shout out all my players that um, I coached at Purcell and who signed their letters of intent to play D1 ball today.
Appreciate
Again,
it, y'all.
Charlie O'Neill, Jayon Saunders, JL Harris. Love
Bless you,
y'all.
bro.
Great young men who deserve everything. My cousin Jerry Harris just posted some bullshit on here that I'm not going to repost because she is again one of those people that I bring up that has no direct affiliation to that team up north, but for whatever reason has attached themselves to that and likes to start shit. So whatever, but that's exactly my point right there. Appreciate it, brother Tez. Shit, great show, guys.
Appreciate it, brother.
So we got
Appreciate
some
it, bro.
things coming up to end the year before we check out for season 4. Honestly, got some things on deck for season 5 that should be pretty exciting for the audience. So make sure y'all stay tuned. Jerry, we'll talk off the record. Anyway, so
Yeah. So what they just said is that is a very popular thing with Moeller, and I hate it.
I know
For
there's a
example,
connection
what did
to
we talk about? Who
Michigan
was we
and
talking to
Moeller.
last week? Who
You
was?
know, Jerry went to Hughes like you.
Oh, what's now? She ain't no say so with that then.
Yeah,
I don't know what
so
they I
you
don't know
know,
what they got
I
going on.
I don't know. It's her
But a
son,
lot
my
of
young.
Moeller alumni affiliate themselves with Michigan.
It's her son, my younger cousin CJ went to Moeller, and
All right,
again,
we gonna end this because now she done went too damn far. So we can
yeah.
go ahead
See,
and
you can
yeah,
see what she's posting. I'm
yeah,
not clicking on it.
yeah. Don't no, now she done went too goddamn far. Now we can get up off of here. We'll
Yeah.
catch you another go around.
So anyway, appreciate everybody tuning in. We'll try and do it better the next time. It's your host, I am Pharaoh, signing
Bye
out for
bye,
now.
Harmony.
My bad.